Welcome to Rich on the Road Across America. On my last bike ride, I went through 6 different states: Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Indiana, and then back through Kentucky and Tennessee to return home. And during that ride, when I hit a bridge overpass or some other bump, the back of the bike sometimes would bounce up and down with the weight of the trailer. And I thought, what if I got some stiffer suspension, some different shocks to put on the back of the bike? Maybe that would help. Well, I've got those shocks. I bought a set of progression suspension shocks for the bike. The shocks are about a 1/2 inch taller than the current shocks. Now they sit at an angle on the bike, so I'm thinking it's gonna be about a 1/4 inch incline on the back of my bike. They are heavy duty and intended for bikes with heavy loads or trailer on the back. They're also adjustable in their riding, so they can get a little stiffer and a little less stiff. That'll help me when the trailer's on the bike, make it stiff. When the trailer's not on the bike, I can soften it up a little bit. So we're gonna trade out the stock shocks that are on the bike and put the new ones on. In order to do this, we gotta take the saddlebags off, first of all. Then there's a bracket on the bottom of the muffler. I have to take the screws out of the bracket. That will allow me to move the muffler out a little bit to allow me to pull the shock off that's currently on there. Saddlebag's gone. The 2 bolts on the bracket below the muffler have been taken off. I removed the upper and the lower bolt that holds the shock absorber on currently. Now I need to grab the shock and rock it kind of back and forth and work it off of the posts that hold it on. So the little persuasion, top and bottom, trying to come off evenly as I can. Then I can grab the muffler, pull it out, give me that room I need to get the old shock off. That's it. The torque specs for the upper and the lower bolts of the shock is about 210 to 235 foot-pounds each. So I'm gonna get the torque wrench, torque it down, make sure I'm good and safe. And then I'm gonna put the bolts on the muffler support, and that will finish out this side. So turn the bike around. I'm now on the left-hand side. I've already adjusted this side, and I'm gonna put it on now. So there we have it. Stock shocks off. New progressive suspension shocks on. I think they look pretty nice. I've got them adjusted to the maximum height. I'm gonna take it out for a ride tomorrow and see how it rides. I may have to take them off and adjust them down a little bit. We'll see. I'm gonna put a heavy loaded trailer on there, go find some overpasses on the interstate, see how it bounces, see if it bottoms out at all. I'm happy. It wasn't that hard. It's 6 bolts, 4 bolts for the shocks and 2 bolts for the muffler on the other side. A real simple change out. If you're doing this, I would suggest getting a little jack and pushing up on this back wheel. It helps a lot. Take the tension off of this so you can get the old ones off, and you can fine tune to put the new ones on. Just get the 2 posts the right distance apart so that the new shock fits on. We'll see how it rides. That's the true test of the whole thing. But as far as changing them out, pretty simple job. I gotta say, I think I prefer the stock shock, the chrome sheathing around the whole thing versus the black post with the chrome spring and the chrome top and bottom. But once I get saddlebags on here, you're barely even gonna be able to see the shock. And even so, that's not an ugly shock. That's really an attractive shock. Black matches my bike, the chrome matches the bike. It ties in perfectly with this, and it was a perfect fit. And I'll come back and we'll have another video tomorrow. So it's tomorrow. I took the bike out with the new shocks on it for a ride. I took it out without the trailer first, drove around and kind of got a feel for what it's like. It's a little stiffer. When you hit a bump, you feel it, but it's not really as stiff or as harsh as I thought it was gonna be. It's not a hardtail, so it's not like that bad, but it's not shaking my bones. It's not that bad. I can tell there's a little bit more of a height to it. I've measured it. It's 3/16 of an inch higher than it was before. Yeah, I can feel it, but by the time I got back home, I was used to it and wasn't a big deal. It didn't affect the handling or the driving, so that's good. I then took the trailer out and went on the interstate, found some overpasses that had the bumps to it. I hit that. Man, did that pay off. That is the ticket. that makes the whole thing worth it. I would hit an overpass, a bump, and before with the stock shocks, it would bounce, 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 bounce. And if I was leaning in a turn and hit one, it would bounce, 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 and it would push me a little. I never got out of my lane. It wasn't that drastic, but it just kept bouncing with that weight on it. So with the new shocks and trailer, when I hit an overpass, it just bounces, and that's it. It comes right back, stops. There's no continual bouncing. That was the whole idea behind putting the new shocks on, and it paid off. It worked perfectly. So I am thrilled to now be ready to take off on any trip and not worry about that. It wasn't a hard installation. It made a world of difference. I couldn't ask for more. So let's go. I may be poor, but I'm rich on the road across America. Wow.